You're listening to today's inspirational message on the Proverbs with Kurt Bjorklund.
In Proverbs, often the way that wisdom is presented is as two opposite ideas presented in close proximity. And the idea, I believe, is to say there isn't one rule of thumb that always works, but instead you have to discern the situation and make a decision. And Proverbs 10, we've said this week, is really about the way in which God works when we make good choices, honorable choices, righteous choices, and understanding that. And here's another instance of this. In verse 10, it says, whoever winks the eye causes trouble, and a babbling fool will come to ruin. And then verse 12 says, hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. So on one hand, it says love covers all offenses, leading us to believe that we should, in every instance, cover every offense. And yet chapter 10, verse 10, basically says winking the eye causes trouble. The New Living Translation says people who wink at wrong cause trouble, but a bold reproof promotes peace. Now that's based on the Septuagint's translation or version of the Old Testament. But what this is pointing to is that often in life, you and I will have a simple choice to either approve what is evil or oppose what is evil. And what winking implies is privacy and approval, and a willingness to support, aid, or help. You know what a wink implies when somebody winks at you and it's just between the two of you. And here, winking probably indicates more than simply mere approval. There's also a sense in which it's secretive. So approving what is wrong and refusing to speak when there's a clear injustice is what's at stake. It's basically not having the courage or the conviction to call wrong what God's word calls wrong. It's refusing to challenge someone close to us when they're on a path, even of personal destruction or sin. Being bold in reproof is speaking up with conviction when injustice is prevailing. It's refusing to call good what God calls sin. It is being willing to challenge obvious sin when we are close with someone who is going down a wrong path. Now, obviously, there's a difference between challenging what is wrong and being obtuse. Being obtuse is basically when you enjoy calling someone out because it makes you feel virtuous. It's speaking with authority without caring about the people to whom you speak. It's being smug and self-righteous when challenging a friend. And the only way that you and I can challenge what's wrong appropriately is when we love people and we're willing to cover all offenses, because love covering every offense means that even when you're legitimately hurt, and you will have legitimate hurts, there will be legitimate offenses, that you choose to cover it. And this idea of covering is the idea of saying, I will take it on myself. And what that means is you are basically saying, I'm choosing to forgive, I'm choosing to overlook, I'm choosing to conceal what has been hard. The word for cover is the Hebrew word kashah. And the idea is that basically you would say, I will let go of past hurts and harms in life. And so the choice that leads to good things in life is this choice to say, will I cover the offense here or will I challenge it? Now, sometimes you can do both. You challenge, then you cover. But the idea is to say sometimes just to let things roll off your back and say, I'm going to let this go, especially if it's minor, or I'm going to confront it, say my piece, then let it go. But there's also times when covering an offense is actually winking at or concealing sin because you're trying to be so loving that you're actually doing a disservice to the ways of God in your life and in the life of people around you. Because when we basically make a choice to say, I'm going to call good what the Bible calls sin, what we do is we lessen the moral standards of God, not just in our lives, but in the lives of others. So today, we want to make a choice to challenge what is wrong without being obtuse, while knowing that there's a time to cover any offense that we see.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.